Let's all put our hands on our heart, and together let's take in a nice, deep, strong, steady breath. Breath in and let it out. Beautiful. I'd like to start off this weekly training roundtable with a poll before we dive into the heart of today's training, which is going to be on making the shift from shadows to strength, from Shadow Parkway to Strength Street. But first, I'd like to start us off with a poll. So I'm going to ask our member care team to support us. And there's going to be 2 poll questions. So for some of you, this is going to require you to think way back. And for some of you, it's going to require you to think just to a couple weeks, if not a few days ago. So member care team, let's start off with poll question number 1. Looking back at where you were before you began with Business Miracles and where you are now. What area in your life or business are you experiencing the biggest shift in relation to experiencing less effort and more ease or impact? Income, selling conversations, as well as perhaps difficult conversations, time, supporting others, or mindset. Take a moment, connect in, and just go with where your heart guides you. Your intuition knows. No need to think too deeply. No analysis paralysis. And then member care, I'm going to leave it to you to end the poll when we are complete. Awesome. Let's share the results. Lots of shifts in regards to mindset, and then also in selling conversations and difficult conversations. Beautiful. Let's do poll number 2, member care team, when you're ready. Based on your previous answer, what you just answered in poll number 1, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being a little and 5 being a lot, how much impact has this had on your life and business? And then again, member care, I'll leave it to you to end and share the poll when we are complete. So we've got a beautiful range from slightly to a lot. And that probably also depends on how long you have been on this highly sensitive leadership training journey. Beautiful. We can stop with the poll and let's all take a breath in and let it out. Awesome. So it's really valuable to be able to take a moment every once in a while and reflect on how far you've come versus just how far you see that you still have to go. So take a moment to write that down. It'd be really valuable to literally create time, set aside time to reflect on how far you've come versus how far you still have to go. This approach directly counteracts the highly sensitive tendency to have that limiting belief pattern of not enough. So along those lines, when we are looking at shifting from shadows to strengths, first of all, let's just take a moment to do a touchstone back to our previous trainings over these last 30 days. So we had a weekly training where we focused on shifting from coping to creating. We also had a training where we looked at shifting from fear to intuition, which now leads us to the pattern of shifting from shadow to strengths. What I want to emphasize first and foremost is that the shift from shadows to strengths is not something that you arrive at and never have to do again, but instead shifting from shadow behavior, our highly sensitive shadows, to strength behavior, our highly sensitive strengths, is a muscle that you want to build so that you have access to it more easily and more quickly, more often. So write that down. We're not looking to eradicate shadows in the same way that when we talked about the coping cycle, we spoke about how the coping cycle is not bad or your coping mechanisms are not bad, but instead it's about strengthening the muscle so that you can more easily and more quickly and more often catch yourself in shadow behavior and create the shift to strengths. Why is this important? It makes everything more productive and creative and fruitful, from business, work, to every aspect of life, including all of your most important relationships. In order to be able to develop that muscle, to develop that skill, to be able to shift from shadow to strength, I would like to bring up the shadow to strength pathway. And I'm going to ask our event coordinator, Susie, to share the handout now. For some of you, you're probably seeing this for the first time. For many of you, you have seen this pathway before. Yet it is very valuable and worthwhile to return to as a training. Where I'd like us to focus first is on the drama aspect of the shadow strength triangle pathways. So you're going to look at the word drama, and then the words that fall underneath drama are rescuer, persecutor, and victim. This comes from a theory and teaching referred to as the Karpman drama triangle, which is a social model of human interaction, and it was created by Stephen B. Karpman, K-A-R-P-M-A-N. If it's helpful, you can take a moment and you can literally draw a triangle between those three words. Rescuer, one point of the triangle; persecutor, second point of the triangle; victim, third point of the triangle. This triangle maps a type of destructive interaction that occurs among people in conflict. It also refers to interpersonal conflict, meaning within yourself. The drama triangle is a tool used in psychotherapy, and specifically in an approach called transactional analysis. And it's a triangle of actors in the drama that we are either persecuting, or we are a victim, or we are a rescuer. It's a triangle because it shows that we tend to not only bounce between all three within ourselves, but we play out these particular dramas within dynamics in all of our relationships. The Karpman triangle is often also referred to as DDT, which stands for the dreaded drama triangle. Wow. The roles within the drama triangle are very disempowering. We give away our power, believing that we are beholden to persecution, to rescuing, to victimhood. Then let's look at the next column, which is empowerment, and the words that fall under empowerment: coach, challenger, and creator. These make up the empowerment dynamic triangle, or otherwise referred to as TED, the empowerment dynamic, or otherwise known as the TED triangle. This triangle was developed by David Emerald Wommeldorf, who is a master speaker, teacher, facilitator, and storyteller. And this was his creation as the ways to escape from the dreaded drama triangle. So TED inspires the realization that choice can lead to a positive approach to any of life's challenges. That when you find yourself in the drama triangle, there's actually an empowered way out. Now let's look at the end columns, the shadow column: over responsibility, over protection, and overwhelm. And then the strength column: empathy, intuition, and creativity. This is the highly sensitive shadow triangle and the highly sensitive strength triangle. Designed and developed by yours truly, Heather Dominic. So what we have here is it shows us the specific pathway, and particularly how the drama triangle and the TED triangle relate specifically to us as highly sensitives, showing not only how we can bounce between the shadows of over-responsibility, over-protection, and overwhelm, but more importantly, how to get out of them. To recognize that when we are in over-responsibility, we are caught in the drama of rescuing. But we see our way out, which is through the coach and through our highly sensitive strength of empathy. And then the same for every single pathway, from overprotection to intuition, from overwhelm to creativity. Now, this connects to last week's training on fear versus intuition, and we go back to Dan Siegel's representation of the brain. And when we are in our shadows or the drama, our lid is flipped. We can use something like snapping, power poses, energy management to support us in accessing empowerment, to accessing our strengths so that we can flip the switch, bringing the lid down, accessing our amygdala, that frontal cortex, which gives us access to creative solutions, being able to empathize, put ourselves in someone else's shoes, access our intuition as guidance, or our strength of creativity, again, the gateway to creative solution. So how to really work with the shadow strength triangles and these pathways is that the shadows and the drama, rather than becoming triggers that enact us into behavior of rescuing, persecuting, or feeling and being a victim, but they become signals or ways that we are touched, reminded, wait, there is another way. Coach, challenger, creator, empathy, intuition, and creativity. Let's take a breath in and let it out. With that, we can stop this screen share, and I'm going to hand us over to our Business Miracles Community Curator, Lorna, with our Curator Corner to take us further with how to really be in immediate implementation with shifting from shadows to strengths. Lorna, welcome.
Thanks, Heather. So I'm going to give you a quick curator recommendation that will help you to take this training from information to a place of true transformation. And that is in your forum posts, especially between now and our intuitive planning day, which is April 28th, to give yourself some time to work with this. Identify in your posts where you are on this shadows to strength pathway. Like, oh, I see I'm being over responsible. Or, oh, this is me actually activating the challenger. And to support you, the coaches will remind you about this when we are reviewing your posts on the